In the past, Sierra Leone was considered a step forward in cultural norms, given that it was a place for previous slaves to live an independent life. However, the country Freetown, or Sierra Leone, has quickly turned into a place of corruption and poverty after the discovery of rich natural resources. Therefore, diamonds and other resource-rich materials are normally thought to improve the economy and funding of a country, but the recent and historical events that have occurred in Sierra Leone seem to prove otherwise. During the 1460s, native Sierra Leoneans traded with European businessmen, especially the British. One of the most popular things to trade were slaves. However, as negativity towards slavery progressed, many were freed and sent back to Sierra Leone. This made the majority of the population of Sierra Leone to be slaves, gaining the name Freetown. Furthermore, in 1808, the British annexed Sierra Leone, making it a colony of the British Crown. Having mostly white people in the government, with the majority of the population being black, it created an abrupt ethnic divide within the country. Not only had tension begun, but the British had established a formal British protectorate, which was made of 5 districts, each governed by a European commissioner. Given that the British had full control of the country, they established the indirect rule, where all African kings were forced to take orders from the European commissioner, which allowed each official to distribute land. These administrators later took advantage of this power, granting some of the land to family members and friends. With the government's power, further corruption was acted upon, including taxing the citizens of Sierra Leone, which caused much controversy between officials and the people. This controversy led to the violent conflict known as the Hut Tax War. Leading into the 20th century, one of the world's most prized possessions was found in Sierra Leone: diamonds. Found by citizens of Sierra Leone in 1935, many were unsure what to do with such a luxury. As news spread about the diamonds, the government claimed ownership, exclaiming that it belonged to the country and should therefore be used for the country's expenses. By 1961, Sierra Leone gained independence from Britain, but the problems in which the country faced were not over. For example, the government later followed rule that diamonds 500 carats or above must be given to the government. It was believed by citizens that the diamonds were to be sold for funding for topics including education, infrastructure, and payments to public officials. However, as time continued, funding for things such as schools decreased, and the state of the roads as well as the economy remained stagnant. Citizens became outraged, and conflict began as the money was in fact being used for personal gain by administrators in the high office. Nearing 1991, a rebel group was created called the Revolutionary United Front, or RUF, whose goal was to overthrow the government. When the rebel group first attacked, the government fought back with a private military, and war broke out. Blood diamonds, named after the conflict they caused, quickly became an item of trade through the black market to obtain weapons by the RUF, leading to the belief that whoever had control of diamond mines had total control of the country, meaning that the blood diamonds were practically funding the war. This conflict, which resulted in the death of 5 million, the enactment of child soldiers, and many public executions performed by rebel groups, ended in 1999 when the Lone Peace Accord was signed. Even though the war has ended, blood diamonds are still a leading cause of corruption in Sierra Leone. In fact, 33% of revenue coming from blood diamonds has been lost due to the smuggling occurring in the country. This smuggling primarily occurs because those who discovered diamonds are unsure if they should give their discovery to the government, because some worry they may not get a fair cut of the sale. Others worry that their diamonds will supposedly be taxed, but the money coming from the tax will actually be used by the public officials for personal gain. From primary conflicts ending in the late 20th century, current President Ernest Bai Koroma promised to lower and eventually eliminate the corruption in Sierra Leone. One solution in which he has created is a hotline that allows citizens to anonymously report corruption happening in the country. Koroma also joined the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative in 2008 to try to stop smuggling and black market deals within Sierra Leone and surrounding countries. Although steps are being made to try to limit corruption and conflict, Sierra Leone still remains at a corruption score of 30 out of 100, 0 meaning fully corrupt and 100 having zero corruption, according to the International Transparency Corruption Index. Along with a poor corruption score, Koroma supposedly spent $500 million on infrastructure since 2007. but little improvement on roads has been made, and around 60% of the money is unaccounted for, according to the New York Times. So the question still remains, is corruption in Sierra Leone actually being improved upon? The answer? Corruption is a difficult thing to erase, especially given the long history of conflict and extortion that has taken place in Sierra Leone. Overall, Sierra Leone has clearly faced issues both in the past and currently. However, many solutions and acts have been made in order to strive for improvement in the state of the country itself. While the government still tries to decrease corruption, Sierra Leone is one of the most impoverished countries in the world. Therefore, government corruption must be stopped because it is leading to further poverty, given that money is not being used for its original intent, and it prevents rich natural resources from being used positively.